So one day, this bus driver is driving his bus. He's driven his bus this route for 20 years. He knows every person who gets on his bus really, and he knows the route. He could drive it blindfolded. He's driving his bus, he stops at a bus stop, and a new person gets on. And this guy, as he gets on the bus, he's built like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's like big and muscular, he's a bodybuilder. And as he gets on the bus, the driver turns over to look at him, and this guy looks at the driver and he thumps his chest and he says, "Big Jack, don't pay." Okay, Big Jack, don't pay. Now this bus driver is a small guy, So he looks at that Arnold Schwarzenegger getting on, and Big Jack, don't pay. He gets angry first. Why don't you pay? It's my bus. But then he feels afraid. How can I tell him anything? How can I tell Big Jack to pay, right? So he says, okay. So he carries on driving his bus. Big Jack goes and he sits down. But this begins to repeat itself. Every morning when he comes to that stop, this fellow gets on from the stop, and as he's getting on, they have to cross that machine where you have to pay, right? As he's crossing that machine, he looks at the driver and he says, "Big Jack, don't pay." And every time this fellow turns his face and he says, okay. But it hurts him, right? He feels so afraid and he feels so small and he feels so embarrassed. But he also feels angry and he feels a lot of rage. Why the hell is this guy like this? Why can he come on my bus like this? I must not allow it. But he's so weak. He loses his sleep over it. He just can't stop thinking about Big Jack, don't pay. So he makes up his mind after a month of living like this. He says, I cannot live like a mouse anymore. He says to himself, I must change this situation. So he joins a gym. He starts working out, pumping weights. He starts building himself up. Because how can he take on Big Jack, right? How can he? He spends hours in the gym and his focus is Big Jack. I'm going to teach Big Jack don't pay a lesson. He has to pay. I'm going to teach him a lesson. And that drives him, bench press, shoulder press, this, builds himself up. But that's not enough. What if he says, no, you have to pay, and then, has a fight? So he joins a Krav Maga class. Krav Maga, martial arts, right? Israeli martial art, really cool. You must try it. So he joins a Krav Maga class, and it's really tough and brutal, and he goes through 6 months of training with Krav Maga, gets on the 3rd level. Now he feels I can take him on. So now he starts his planning, right? And every day, remember, he's still driving the bus. Big Jack is getting on and saying, Big Jack, don't pay. And every day he thinks, just give me a few more days, I'll be ready for you. I'm going to teach you a lesson. Everything else in his life is forgotten. It's Big Jack the focus, right? So I'm going to teach you a lesson. So now he's ready. He's got the Krav Maga. He's got the body. He starts planning. How am I going to tackle him? When am I going to tell him? The perfect time to tell him and the perfect words to tell him. And I'm going to make sure he pays. So he plans and he gets ready. And the day arrives. Today is the day. So he gets on the bus in the morning and he starts out the bus and he starts on his journey. Okay? So we'll give you a little bit of suspense. So he gets on his journey, he goes to the first stop. People get on, but he doesn't even look at them. He's not even watching them. Because his focus is on the stop where Big Jack is going to get on. And how is he going to tackle Big Jack? He's planning it out, he's read all these books about visualize it in your mind before you do it. He's thinking out all the moves of Krav Maga he'll use. He's thinking out everything. And finally, he's coming closer and closer to the stop. And he can see Big Jack is there. And he says, this is it. This is it. Today is when I reclaim my life back, Today it is. So he stops the bus, the door opens, and all the people start getting on. Everybody pays and goes back. Big Jack gets on. And this time the driver turns to look at him. And Big Jack gets on. And he looks at the driver and he says, Big Jack, don't pay. And this driver stands up this time. And he turns around to him and he puffs up his chest like that, And he says, Big Jack must pay. Why not pay? And Big Jack looks at him and Big Jack says, Big Jack, have bus pass. Big Jack don't pay. And this poor driver, he turns around and he sits back on his seat and he starts driving the bus. Don't make problems where there are none. You see? Often in your life it is like this. You think something is a problem, but it's not. Don't make issues where there are none. Okay? So remember this, yeah? Something that you resist becomes a problem. What you can accept and live with is never a problem.